Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. Here's your host, relationship specialist, Lori Davis.
Hi, I'm Lori Davis, your certified relationship specialist. Thank you for joining me for Real Talk on iVibe Radio. I am always so excited to be here with you. I'm hoping that you had a good weekend and you've had a good start to your week. And now you're ready for some information and some inspiration in your life. You know, I've learned so much in the past 28 years, both in my own personal relationship and my own personal journey, and in my work with clients. And I'm really passionate about wanting to share that knowledge and wanting to share that experience with as many people as I can. I want to help you to create the best relationships that you can possibly have. You know, relationships are confusing. They're complicated. They're not a fairy tale, right? We don't ride off into the sunset like we see in movies. We don't resolve complicated relationship problems in 30 minutes like you see on sitcoms. Relationships are difficult, but they're part of all of our lives in some way, shape, or form. We've got relationships with friends, with coworkers, with our children, with our intimate partners. And those relationships, when they're right, should bring us so much happiness and joy. But unfortunately, a lot of times they bring us unhappiness. So we have this radio show for you, and it's designed to bring you straight talk about real issues that you're going to face on a daily basis. We're going to be talking about dating, about marriage, about parenting, divorce, sex, and so many more things. You're going to let me know what you want me to talk about. You're going to contact me and tell me. So don't go anywhere, because today we've got a great show, I hope, for you. We're going to be talking about masculine and feminine roles and how they've gotten reversed in our society. We're going to have a guest on in a few minutes. But first, we're going to talk just a little bit about what masculine and feminine energy is, because that may or may not be something you've even heard about. You know, at our core, we all have predominant energy that's either masculine or feminine. Generally speaking, women have feminine energy at their core and men have masculine energy. Now, there's always exceptions, but generally speaking, that's the way it is. This energy plays a really major role in our lives and in our relationships. So let's talk a little bit about what masculine and feminine energy is. Masculine energy is all about action. It's about doing. It's about thinking. It's about giving. And that one kind of surprised me when I first learned about this. I would have thought that was more feminine energy, but it's not. It's about decision making and analyzing and problem solving. Masculine energy it's action. It's assertiveness. Some examples of that might be giving advice, accomplishing things, making lists, all those things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Whereas feminine energy really is more about just being. It's about feeling and expressing, receiving and being more vulnerable and open. Feminine energy reminds me of long walks, of conversations, of softness, of music. That feminine energy is more about being in the moment as opposed to doing. So hopefully that makes some sense to you. You know, in our day-to-day lives, men and women act in both masculine and feminine ways. We all have both of these energies inside of us, and depending on what we're doing, kind of depends on which one comes out more. During most of the day, we're trying to balance these two energies. However, these energies do play an important role in our relationships, and we're going to talk about that today. Understanding how to use this energy is a key factor really in having successful relationships. So we talked about that men generally have that masculine energy at their core, and that energy is the same energy that they're using all day at work. So for them, when they come home, they stay in that same energy. Now, it may look a little different when you're interacting with your coworkers or your employees than when you're acting with your partner or your wife, but it's that same kind of energy. Women, though, have to change that energy. And what happened was when women started, we're going to talk a lot about this, I think, in the show. When we had these equal rights, we wanted to be seen as equal to men. And I think that that's wonderful. I'm always for that. But what happened is we got into sort of this all or nothing mode, and we gave away a lot of that femininity. It was sort of a price that we had to pay for that. And that affects our relationships. It affects our interactions at home when we get out of touch with that feminine energy. So I think it's important for women to find their way back to being in touch with that side of themselves. You know, I'm busy. I'm a mom. I have this career. I have the radio show. I have so many things that I do. And I absolutely love accomplishing things. It makes me feel great. But that can be exhausting without some balance. So I also love being around that masculine energy when I get home and I'm around my guy. When I tap into that feminine energy, for me, it just sort of feels like being at home. I relax and I'm able to receive. And at the end of the day, that really rejuvenates me. You know what else it does? It creates passion in my relationship, because that difference between men and women creates that spark. So now that we've talked about passion, we're going to introduce our guest, because he's all about that. Today, we're going to talk more with him about masculine and feminine roles and how they've gotten reversed in our society. And we are just very honored to have with us the love coach, Bruce Starr. Bruce has been on a 38-year self-study on several different philosophies on life. He has studied in the Course of Miracles with Marianne Williamson. He's traveled the country with Saul Steinberg, the original publisher of Course in Miracles, and a lot of other things that he's probably going to tell you about. He began his career in radio, believe it or not, in the early 90s, hosting and producing radio and television shows on relationships in South Florida and also in Los Angeles. In 1993, he opened a room on AOL called Relationship Coaching. And over a 10-year period, he says that he has had 6,000 intimate conversations with people across the country. So you know he's got lots to share with us. He has written a book about his experiences that he hopes, he says, will eventually help an entire generation of people caught up in game-playing relationships. He's here to say that that type of relationship doesn't work and it never will work. That the only thing that works is love. Maybe that's why he's called the Love Coach. He is currently hosting the Love Coach radio show on Blog Talk Radio and has dedicated the rest of his life to helping people return to what each and every person craves, but is run from, and that is love. Bruce, are you with us?
Oh, I sure am, and I want to thank you so much for that very nice introduction. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me on your show.
We are so happy that you're here. You and I have talked a lot over the phone, and we're hoping to do some things in person together, and we have a lot of good information between the two of us, I think.
Yes, I agree. And you know what seems to be interesting to me is how dramatically relationships, dating has changed in the last 10 or 20 years. And some of it is more interesting and makes for an interesting life, and some of it has really, really complicated things. And I'm so glad you chose to do a show about masculine and feminine energies in relationships.
You know, I run into singles all the time, and I would say that most of the singles out there would tell you that dating in this day and age is frustrating from them and that they're not so happy about it. And so, yeah, when we talked about different topics to talk about, this masculine and feminine energy and this role reversal is something that I talk about a lot. It's a chapter in my book that I have, and I think it's really important. So we're going to get to that. But first, I want to give you just a few minutes. Tell the listeners just a little bit about, besides what I covered, about yourself and what you have going on these days, just so they know who they're talking to.
Well, you know, you brought up that starting in 1993, I went on America Online and had those 6,000 conversations, and I spent tens of thousands of hours talking to people, and I went into those rooms to help people, but what happened, of course I did help people, but what happened was I listened to thousands of stories, and I learned what was going on, what was going wrong in people's lives by listening and learning about them. And I think that that's a key to not just listening to people and learning about them, but I think that that's a key to getting to know someone.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, you have to listen. You have to listen to understand them. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so now you have this Blog Talk Radio show, you're doing events for singles, so you are on a mission, as am I, to help people to have happier relationships. So let's go back and let's talk a little bit about the roles that were played by the different sexes over time and sort of what's happened. Because things are different now than they used to be, and it's a relatively new change, I think. We've lost our template, haven't we?
It is a new change, and I'd like to start the story by saying Fred and Wilma. I think most people know who Fred and Wilma, the Flintstones, and the way it was back then, and the way it's been for thousands of years, is you had the man, and you really described this beautifully. The man, the aggressive one, the one who goes out there looking for what needs to be captured, with the food that needs to be gathered. And he was relied upon to bring that back to Betty and to the female who was going to receive that. And she needed to receive that because she had a family. She had 1, 2, 3, 4 kids, whatever it was. And back then, people were smart enough to know that you can't raise 3, 4, 5 kids and be out there working, slaving away working. You had to be at home with those kids. You had to raise those kids. So the roles were, you'd receive from the husband, the male, and ladies, please don't get mad at me because this is not Bruce Starr's work, but this is what I've learned over the years from so many great speakers. The man is out there to gather things and bring them home and feed the family. So that worked out great for thousands of years. Then about 30 or 40 years ago, something called women's lib came upon us.
Yeah, we started in the 1920s, I think, when women started marching, right? For the right to vote was the beginning.
Yes. But, the bra burning and the women's lib probably started in the 60s
and 70s, yeah. It took it even further, yes.
And so what happened back then was a very good thing. Yes, women do deserve equality at work. Women who want to go to work deserve to get the job that they want. Women's lib was a wonderful thing, but there was a problem to it. Just like with most anything else on this earth, there's good and there's bad. The good news is that the women wanted to work and they got jobs. The bad news is that to compete for those jobs, they had to take on very masculine roles. If I have another minute, I'd like to tell you a story that in 1981, I was living in Boston, Massachusetts, in quite a conventional, typical area, and I moved from Boston to Los Angeles. And in Boston, when I say conventional and typical, and in most other towns, the masculine man would ask the feminine, receptive woman out, and it was up to her to say yes or no, a very powerful position. There's no one stronger or weaker, just two different roles. Well, when I went out to Los Angeles in 1981 was the first time I really was confronted with this male and female energy, because I wanted to be the masculine, aggressive male who would ask people out, ask the girl out that I wanted to go out with. But it wasn't like that out there. LA is a very interesting place. And what happens out there is, to make it out there, you have to be very aggressive. And the women out there became very, very masculine in nature to compete with the males. Now, that was my first experience where the women were really put off by me being masculine with them, because quite frankly, two masculine, aggressive energies really doesn't work in reality.
No, there's no passion there. There's no difference. There's no spark between the two, right? Because you're the same.
Even if they're both very attractive, there still needs to be an energy, like you said, a spark that keeps them and holds them together. And so that's the problem with the masculine and feminine. The women started taking on very masculine ways, and then instead of the man and the women coming together and understanding each other, there's a tremendous misunderstanding. I'm a speaker at a lot of singles events, and when I go speak there, the women, the men always come up to me and they say this. The women, let me start with the men. The men are so mystified, they're so clueless as to what to do, because the men are saying that the women want to approach them, and it's taking all their masculine energy away, because it's the women who want to be the ones to approach. And it's really hurt the entire dating situation, and it's confused the heck out of everybody.
Definitely. And we've got a lot more to talk about that, and we're going to get to a lot more. But before we go on to another topic and kind of start, I want to give you a chance to let people know where you are, how they can contact you. We're going to give them that information later too, but let's give them a little bit of that information right now.
Great. Thank you so much, Lori, and I appreciate that. You can reach me at the Love Coach. Now, I spell my Love Coach, L-U-V, Coach, L-U-V-Coach, at AOL.com. I was the first and original internet relationship coach, especially on AOL. So you can send me an email, say hello at LUVCOACH at AOL.com. Also, if anyone, for the first 10 people that contact me who listen to this show, listen to Lori Ann's show, you mention Lori Ann to me, and I will be glad to give you a free 15-minute private one-on-one consultation to talk about anything that you want to talk about. All you have to do is email me at lovecoach at AOL.com. And please visit my Facebook page, The Love Coach, and that's also at Facebook.
Great. Yes, Bruce has got lots of good information. He's doing lots of things out there to help people. And, I want to mention, don't go anywhere, because we have a lot more information that we're going to share with you. And as we talk about sort of how these roles have changed and what's happened, we're not just going to stop there. We're going to talk about some things that we can do to make this better. So, I think I'm going to give just a couple of minutes of my input of some of the things that you've said. And that is that, we used to have this template. Men knew what they were supposed to do in their roles with women. Women knew what their roles were. And like you said, through the 60s, the 70s, things changed. Women had to take on a lot more masculine roles, a lot more masculine energy in their actions in order to get out there, in order to compete in the jobs, and in order to get the jobs they wanted, and actually to be in that man's world. And there's nothing wrong with that. Bruce and I both think that women should be able to do anything that they want to do. The problem has come in, I think, for me, and you were talking some about the whole dating and, women approaching men and, them not knowing what to do. I see this a lot too in relationships, in that when women come home at the end of the day, they don't take off that masculine energy hat. They don't know how to do that anymore. So they're still acting in that same role. And then there's no room for the guy. The guy doesn't kind of know what to do. And there's no spark. There's no attraction, because, I like to say men don't want another guy in women's clothes, no matter how pretty those clothes are. When he gets home and you're in that interaction with each other as partners, you want that feminine and masculine energy. The ladies want the guy to be masculine, and he wants her to be feminine, so that they have that spark and that passion. And when we get back, we're going to take a commercial break in a minute, but when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about sort of what that has done to men and to women, right? Because they don't know how to act, and it's exhausting for women to be in that feminine energy, or I'm sorry, in that masculine energy all the time. See, I want to go to the feminine energy already. So, so I don't know, Bruce, tell me about this one. When I do singles groups, I'll hear the men say, I don't know what to do, because I want to be the man. I want to be assertive. But when I am, the women don't seem to be receptive like I think they're going to be. And you mentioned that. But then the women in the group, because sometimes I got 50 singles in this room, and the women are saying, but I want the guy to be the pursuer, but I want him to be the guy. So I think sometimes for me, it's that the men don't know what to do, and they don't know what to do right, but the women really don't understand when they're being in masculine energy. Do you see that as well?
Oh my God, yes. And it's because women have lost a skill that they've had for thousands of years. And a lot of it is such common sense, because the women come up to me and they say, if I don't go up to a man, he's never going to come up to me. If I don't go up and say hello to someone, he's never going to notice me. Well, that may be true, but for the most part, it's not true. And they say, well, what do I do? If he wants me, I'm not going to just sit back. I said, you don't have to sit back. You can do two things, two of the most powerful things in the world of relationships, in the world of people, that will allow you to send out the kind of energy that you need to send out so that you can be the receptive female and allow him to be the masculine male. And this is the two things that any woman can do. Number one, they can smile at the guy. You see, guys don't want to come up to you if you have a snarl on your face, or if he looks at you and you look at him. What do game players do when someone looks at you and they're looking at you? What does a game player do? They look down. They look away, because they don't want to seem too needy or too available. A game, okay?
And that
smile.
That smiling is being receptive. So see, that's feminine energy. So you are doing something, but you're doing it in feminine energy.
Right, in a receptive way. And so the second thing a woman can do is eye contact. Don't look away after a second or two. Give it 3-4 seconds. Okay, now 5 or 6 seconds, he might start to worry and think that you're some kind of lunatic.
Being a little creepy looking, okay. Yeah.
But 3 or 4 seconds, he's going to get the message that you are not going to reject him, and that you have interest in getting to know him, and that if he comes over to you, you're not going to embarrass him and make him regret that he ever did want to come over to you. So the two things you could do is smile and eye contact. And the guy will come over if he's interested. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's not interested in women. Maybe he's married. Maybe he's just not attracted to you. But do it. Keep on doing it. And the right guy who's available, who's looking for a relationship, when he sees you smile at him, it's such a powerful thing. It's such a powerful thing to look at someone in the eye and smile at them. Oh, my God, who wouldn't come over to you if it's the right thing, if it's the right kind of chemistry or right kind of relationship potential?
Yeah, and they might even come over just to say hi, even if they're not interested in anything else. But at least you're going to have some conversation. You're going to practice your conversation skills. I tell singles all the time, talk to people, practice your conversation skills. That is a great thing to do. You have nothing to lose for that. So
even if he's not the right guy or she's not the right girl, you're going to come off as someone nice and kind. And what are they going to do? They're going to say, I've got a guy for you. I've got a girl for you. So be as kind to as many people as you can. There's no excuse for not being kind.
No, it's marketing, right? Network marketing. We do it in the business world. Why can't we do it in relationships too? So, all right.
That's right.
Bruce is going to have a lot more information. We're going to talk about much more about role reversals, how to fix it, what we can do for singles and for couples. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing masculine and feminine roles. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more information for you that just might help you have healthier, happier relationships. I am Lori Davis, your relationship specialist, and this is Real Talk on iVibe Radio. We're going to take a break now, but we'll be right back. Attention, all Florida homebuyers. Are you a first-time homebuyer, looking to upgrade, or desire to have a Florida vacation home? I can help. At Keller Williams, we find solutions tailored just for you. When you decide to buy or sell in Florida, I can help. Call Lisa Ballinger at 813-205 0202 or visit my website at www.flrealestatesoldbylisa.com for help with all your Florida buying and selling needs.
Attention, all songwriters, recording artists, producers, and managers. Are you really ready to learn the music business? iVibe Radio, in conjunction with New Soul Productions, is proud to present Music Education 101. It's going down August 7th through the 9th in Charlotte, North Carolina at the iVibe Radio Studios.
And check this out. There's no fluff.
Learn all you need to know to be a real player in the music business. Hear it from the pros about recording, mixing, mastering, radio airplay, social media, songwriting, song placement, and we're just getting started. It's the Music Education 101 Boot Camp. It's going down in Charlotte, North Carolina, August 7th through the 9th at the iVibe Studios. Reserve your space today at iViberadio.com.
Hurry and do it now. Limited space available. That's IVYBERadio.com.
It's brought to you by New Soul Productions and iVibe Radio.
We're back with Real Talk on iVibe Radio.
Welcome back. I am Lori Davis, the host of Real Talk on iVibe Radio. I am a certified relationship specialist. I have been in the business for over 28 years. I've learned so much during all of that time, and I absolutely love sharing that with you and helping people on their journey to have better relationships. I want to encourage you to go to my website. It's LoriAnnDavis.com. That's LORIANN Davis.com. You can check out the book that I have just published. It's called Unmasking Secrets to Unstoppable Relationships: How to Find, Keep, and Renew Love and Passion in Your Life. It's got my secrets in it, so I can't wait to share those with you. You can also look on my website. I write blogs every week, so there's all sorts of information on all kinds of topics that I want to share with you. Connect with me on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere else, and see how we can get in touch. Feel free to send me a message. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about. I would also encourage you to take advantage of a free strategy session that I might offer. So send me a message through my website. It's LoriAnnDavis.com, LoriAnnDavis.com, and you can learn all about me. Today, we are blessed to have with us Bruce Starr, known as the Love Coach. We are talking about masculine and feminine energy and masculine and feminine roles and the roles that they play in our relationship, how maybe they've gotten reversed and how that's a good thing, but how that's also caused us some difficulties. Bruce, are you also known as the godfather of relationship coaching? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, just because I've been doing it so long and I've had put in so many hours, one of the TV and radio hosts who interviewed me sort of said that. I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'll take that.
Yeah, you should keep that. So just in case somebody has just tuned in, why don't you give the listeners just a quick overview of what we've been talking about so far?
Well, you know, there's dating and relationships are so confusing and so difficult. And in the last 20 or 30 years, or even maybe a little bit longer, it's gotten so much more difficult because of the reverse of roles that people are playing. Men for thousands of years played a masculine, aggressive role, and females played a receptive, feminine role. No one is any weaker or stronger. They were just two different roles, yin yang. It all works.
And that came from, and that just for a second, can I interject? That came from that at our core, we have masculine and feminine energy that's part of us naturally, and there's nothing we can do about that. It just is, right?
We have masculine and feminine energies, and we call up some and we allow some to get dormant. Mm-hmm. And the problem came around when the feminine energy, the women stopped calling upon their natural feminine energy and started becoming more and more masculine to compete with jobs. It's like wearing somebody else's shoes. They might fit, it might be okay, but you'll never be comfortable because you're wearing somebody else's shoes, and most people are not comfortable. I got to tell you that the foremost expert on this work is a lady named Dr. Pat Allen. She's a mentor of mine. She wrote off a nice review in the book that I wrote. And Dr. Pat, in case you don't never heard of her, if you ever watch The Millionaire Matchmaker, Patty Stanger, every once in a while, when she's having a real difficult time with one of her millionaires, calls in this little old lady who gives it to them.
That. Yes.
And really straightens these people out because she truly understands masculine and feminine energy and the way it works and the way it's not working. She speaks to hundreds and hundreds of people in the entertainment industry each and every week, movie producers, actors, actresses, who are all in their masculine, the men are in their feminine, and they're all miserable because they're all playing on roles. They're all playing uncomfortable roles. So what Dr. Pat Allen said, and this is the most helpful information I can give, because you said this so beautifully about you want to come home and you want to be that feminine, receptive person, but we have forgotten how to. We don't know what to do. So if I can at this point, I'd like to share with you what Dr. Pat Allen shared and what she shares each and every week to thousands and thousands of people. She said, there's nothing wrong with being aggressive, masculine at work. That's what we all have to do to have the good jobs and make the money. So women have double duty, she said. Women have to do twice as much to make this work because they are doing masculine things, and then, just like you said, they go and take this masculinity into relationships, and it truly doesn't work. So here's what she said to do, and ladies, listen in, because anyone can do this. When you come home from your job, light the candles, put the incense on, and sit in a nice warm bath with different essential oils for at least a half hour before your date, so that you can let some of that masculine energy drain away. And that will allow your more natural feminine energy to rise up. Because ladies, men do not want to battle with you in bed, in the bedroom. They don't want an aggressive, pushy, masculine woman in the bedroom. They really, really don't, and that's what's gone haywire about this. The women don't understand. So you can have it all, women, but you've got double the duty. You need to take the time to get into your feminine for your dates and your relationships.
Yeah, you know, in my book that I wrote, I did a whole section about being comfortable in your own skin and how to get back in touch with that feminine energy at the end of the day. And I gave a whole list of suggestions. So I can picture me as this, you know, I'm going to be this lady too. When I'm older, I'll be this little old lady giving the same advice because I'm little. So, you know, when you said that. But I did. I wrote a whole section about it's tougher for women. We have a harder job. But we can do it. We can do it when, you know, I talk sometimes about what do you do on your way home? From the first radio show that I ever did, we talked about this, and we were on Periscope, I think, at the time, and we got some interesting comments. People liked my comments. But I talked some about, you know, if you work outside of the home, on the way home, putting on some music that makes you feel more feminine. I also talk to women all the time about, Bruce, you're going to like this, I think, about one of the ways to feel feminine is, you know, on the outside, you've got to wear your business power suit maybe, but what do you have underneath your suit? Do you have on pretty lingerie? Do you have on something that you feel pretty and sexy in? Because that keeps that feminine energy alive. It keeps you in touch with that. You know, or I said, you know, the women that stay at home with children, they're still doing masculine energy things all day. They're still, you know, herding children around is very masculine energy. It's very doing. So before your guy gets home at the end of the day, you know, I kind of laugh and say, you need to, you know, comb the Cheerios out of your hair and, you know, get the applesauce off your clothes. Maybe if you can, go get a quick shower. Something that you freshen up. And, you know, sometimes women will say, well, I need to do all that for him. And I'll say, you're not just doing it for him, right? You're doing it for you. Because
Absolutely.
when you tap into that feminine energy, and I can speak to this as a female, I need that balance in my life, and women need that balance. When you go around in masculine energy all day long accomplishing, it exhausts you. It wears you out. So we want that balance for ourselves, ladies, because it's going to make us feel good. But we also want it because it does help our relationships. It helps us attract the guy if we're single. It helps us keep him. And it helps us keep that love and that passion alive in our relationships. So anyway, that's my little tangent about that.
I think it's great. And I think if women right now need to hear a little more reasons why they need to let go of being a masculine female, I'm going to share with you right now what I learned over the years. And what I learned was that men, the years, thousands of years, wanted to be the one who pursued the woman, who wooed them, who went after them, who found someone that they could value and tried to win them over. This is what turns a man on. This is what turns a masculine energy male on.
That pursuing.
A woman, the doing, the winning her over. And women, don't give it up early. Make them work for it. Give them let them be back in their masculine energy and let them pursue you and want to be there for you. Let them open up the door. Let them do those masculine things. Okay, now, here's the thing. If the man picks you and chooses you, you're going to be the one, if it works out right, that he brings home to mom and dad. But here's where it doesn't work. If you are the masculine female and you go to the man, men, when they do the feminine thing, and you see handsome, gorgeous guys talk about this all the time, they say, hey, I just sit back and the girls come to me. Well, you know what? That's great. They're going to have some, maybe they'll have some exciting sexual relationships. Maybe it won't be that great. But ladies, they're not picking you. You're picking them. And there's 99% chance that you're not going to be the one that they bring home to mom because you picked them. You took away that great energy of them finding you, being proud of who they found, and wanting to bring you home to mom and dad.
Right. And for women, it takes a lot of courage sometimes to be a little bit more vulnerable, to let go of some of that control. Because as women, when we're trying to be controlling in the relationships, now I'm not saying that we need to be doormats and we let the guys walk all over us and we have no say-so in a relationship. I'm not saying that at all.
Nobody's saying that.
No.
Right.
But when we do give up some of the control and allow him to do the things he can do, allow him to make decisions, it doesn't mean you can't have input, but when we kind of work more as a team and we are taking on some of that, it takes courage to let go of that control. And so sometimes that's difficult for women, especially when at work they are in control
Absolutely.
all day long.
Absolutely.
But we need to learn to do that when it's appropriate for our relationships. Yes. What?
Lorianne, when I was listening to those stories, I could not believe the dysfunctional stories, the dysfunctional life that people have had, the incest, I'm sorry to report, the tremendous amount of alcohol in the family, drug addiction in the family, the chaos, the dysfunction. And the reason why there's so much more masculine women is because they had to take control of an insane situation in their household. They needed to be the man. They needed to be the aggressive one to hold and grasp on to any sense of life that would make sense to them. And that's why there's so much more women who are in that masculine role. And I don't think that they want to stay there, and that's how you and I can help them. Imagine if we put together a weekend, you and I talking about masculine and feminine energy, where people can learn to undo the areas in their life that they don't want.
Interestingly enough, we are talking about that, right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
That they do want.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we are talking about doing just that together. And, you know, women sometimes, I think that they want control. But what happens is when you take over too much of that control and the men sort of give up and they back down because they don't know what their role is, they quit doing it. And then women get angry. I know you have to see this. I see this because they're saying, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Why do I have to do everything? And they have to do everything because we don't have those roles anymore. We didn't sit down and talk about, you know, who was going to do what and how things were going to work. And for women, ladies, it's exhausting. So being courageous and turning some of that over, getting in touch with that feminine energy really is, unless you've got an abusive situation, unless you're a single parent. I mean, I understand there are times when you can't do that. But when you can, it really is in everybody's best interest to do that. One more thing I want to bring up and see what you think about this, Bruce. I think that sometimes we have raised a generation of women to do this because a lot of people were raised by single mothers. And so the only role model they saw was that strong woman who had to be feminine and masculine at the same time and had to take over all of those roles. And then on top of that, we may have heard a message that said, you don't want to count on any guy. You want to be able to take care of yourself. You want to be strong. You want to be independent. And there might have been some good to that. But also then if we're raised with that message that you don't need a man, it kind of comes across as you don't want a man, right? And you're not going to give him space in your life.
Yes, and for 10,000 years, the masculine energy wanted to feel important, wanted to feel like they were the ones that could hold the family together, that wanted to be respected. And when that's not given to them in the relationship, when the woman makes it feel like she could do it all, the man says to himself, what role do I fill here?
Right.
I'm not important to this woman. And they're going to go someplace else because they want to feel important in the relationship. They don't want to feel like some trinket. They don't want to feel like someone to get married to. They want to feel important. They want to feel that they're the most important thing in that relationship. And when they don't get that, they're going to go out and keep looking for somebody else where that is clever enough to say, you know what, I feel good enough about myself to allow that man to feel important in my life.
Yeah, it is how affairs happen sometimes because, and it can be, it can be both ways if women don't feel like they're getting what they want from the relationship. But since we're talking about men right now, if a guy doesn't feel like he has that space, if there's not that that polarity, that draw, that passion between the man and the woman, then he goes out and somebody else approaches him and she knows exactly what she's doing. She's in touch with that feminine energy and she's doing it for a reason. So she's tapping into what he's missing. And, unfortunately, he can be an easy target. And, he doesn't understand that might not last, but because it might just be a role she's playing. But that's how a lot of times men can get tempted into straying in their relationships because she's putting on that feminine energy and she's putting that all out there. And he's going, yes, there's that spark. There's that passion. So,
and here's even another way that this confusion in masculine and feminine has really made things difficult. If a woman, when she decides to pick a man, and she's smart enough not to pick another A-type personality, so you don't have two A-types, she picks a man who seems to be available, and that non-A-type might be an artist or someone that's not working all that much, and she likes him because he's available, that he's there for her when he wants her to. Isn't this an interesting switch in relationships, right? So here's where the problem arises. She picks him because he is available. He said yes. And as the months go on, he's still not working that hard, not too ambitious. And all of a sudden she says to him, what the heck is the matter with you?
Right.
Why don't you go do something with your life?
Where's that masculine energy I want?
Job?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden he gets kicked in the head. They break up. And she will most likely not get why they had this breakup. She'll think, oh, he can't handle a strong woman. That's not it at all.
Right. Right. It's that role reversal. Yeah, that we just don't understand. None of us do it on purpose. You know, it was funny when I was writing my book, the publisher made me put something in there, and it was great advice that there are times, though, there are some cases where women have predominant masculine energy and men have predominant feminine energy. And that does happen. And that's okay, because then those people need to partner up. So that artist may, if he's a guy, may have predominant feminine energy. So he needs to find somebody that has predominant masculine energy, who isn't going to come along and then say, you're missing something, I want something different. Because they are going to blend. They're going to have that spark. There's going to be that passion. They're going to be both be filling the roles. It's just going to be the opposite. And so,
as long as they don't do a switcheroo with each other and all of a sudden become unhappy with what they first chose.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's possible that after a while, this guy he's still a natural masculine energy guy is not going to want to be pushed and prodded and told what to do. He's going to start to resent that. So, you know, it's going to be very, very hard for that switched relationship to work on a long term.
Right. And every now and then it does. But the idea is, I think that we just really want to get across is that this isn't anybody's fault. Nobody's doing something wrong because they're purposely trying to have bad relationships. It really is something that has evolved in society. And as society has evolved, we're filling in the spaces the best we know how, trying to figure out how to have these relationships. But unfortunately, we don't have role models because things changed, and we didn't sit down and teach people, right? We didn't figure out a new template and say, okay, here are relationships now in this new age where things have changed. Here's your template. Here's how you act. Here's how you make relationship work. We didn't do that. Now, I think that there are a fair amount of us hopefully coming along trying to teach that now. And you do hear more about it and you read more about it, but I don't think near enough, because when I get together with groups of people, you were talking about what men and women say when you talk. When I talk to them, it's interesting because the men will say, yeah, exactly, that's right. And the women will look at me sometimes and go, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. So they get it. It makes sense. Very few people come up to me and say, you don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid. They always shake their heads and go, oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and then can they make the choices? Because usually people are so wanting to hold on to the way they do things. Can they make the right choices for themselves? And that's where we really can be there for people, where we can really be there to support people who want to have healthy, exciting, interesting, warm, supportive, long-lasting relationships.
It's that thing. If it's not working and you continue to do the same thing over and over, that's the definition of what? Insanity.
Insanity.
but it also is that if you do the same thing over and over, I tell clients sometimes, or potential clients, if nothing changes in a year from now, your life looks just like it does, is that going to be okay? So we're not trying to tell people to change because we think we have all the answers, or, we want to just be bossy and tell you what to do. We're saying that if it's not working for you, we have some suggestions. We have some knowledge. We have spent a long period of our life researching this and living it and talking to people and practicing it ourselves. I have to keep remembering sometimes that giving is masculine energy and it's not feminine energy. And I'll catch myself sometimes giving, thinking I'm doing something good, and I kind of get this reaction that's not so great, and I go, oh crap, I did it again, right? I'm giving, thinking I'm doing the right thing, and it wasn't. So we're going to take a break in a minute, and when we come back, we're going to focus on solutions, okay? Get your solutions ready, Bruce, because we're going to talk to people about more things and things they can do to kind of make their relationships better. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Attention, all Florida home buyers. Are you a first-time home buyer looking to upgrade or desire to have a Florida vacation home? I can help. At Keller Williams, we find solutions tailored just for you. When you decide to buy or sell in Florida, I can help. Call Lisa Ballinger at 813-205-0202 or visit my website at www.flrealestatesoldbylisa.com for help with all your Florida buying and selling needs.
Attention, all songwriters, recording artists, producers, and managers. Are you really ready to learn the music business? iVibe Radio, in conjunction with New Soul Productions, is proud to present Music Education 101. It's going down August 7th through the 9th in Charlotte, North Carolina at the iVibe Radio Studios.
And check this out. There's no fluff.
Learn all you need to know to be a real player in the music business. Hear it from the pros about recording, mixing, mastering, radio airplay, social media, songwriting, song placement, and we're just getting started. It's the Music Education 101 Boot Camp. It's going down in Charlotte, North Carolina, August 7th through the 9th at the iVibe Studios. Reserve your space today at iViberadio.com.
Hurry and do it now. Limited space available. That's IVYBERadio.com.
It's brought to you by New Soul Productions and iVibe Radio.
Let's rejoin relationship specialist Lori Davis with Real Talk on iVibe Radio.
Welcome back. This is Lori Davis, host of Real Talk on iVibe Radio. Be sure to download the iVibe app so that you can listen on the go. For more information and listen to all the music and all the information that iVibe Radio has to offer, you can go to iviberadio.com and get your app there. I also want to remind you that I have a website. It's LoriAnnDavis.com. That's LORIANN Davis.com. And I'm going to encourage you to go to my website and get all the information I have there for you. I have blogs. I have pages with information. I have videos that you can watch. I offer you a free strategy session if you contact me. I have a new book that I've published that you can find out how to get that. A lot of the information we're talking about today, I have even more information in my book for you. The other thing that I want to let you know is everywhere I go these days, I hear about summer specials. So I have decided, just for iVibe listeners, that I'm offering a summer special. Between now and the end of summer, if you contact me, I have a special rate for you on some coaching sessions. So if your relationship is not going the way you would like it to go, and you want to talk to me about what we can do to make that relationship better, between now and the end of summer is a great time to get in touch with me. Bruce Starr, the Love Coach, is with us today, and we are talking about masculine and feminine roles and how they've gotten reversed. In just a minute, we're going to talk about what we can do about that. We're going to give you even more tips. Bruce, though, one more time, why don't you let people know how they can get in contact with you in case they love what they hear from you and they can't wait to contact you.
Great. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity, Lorianne. You can reach me at LUVCOACH. My email is LUVCOACH, LUVCOACH at AOL.com, LUVCOACH at AOL.com. And Lorianne, anyone that mentions your name to me when they email me, I am going to give the first 10 people that contact me a free 15-minute consultation right over the phone, right over Skype. And they can ask any question that they want. The hardest question, I'm there for them. So I want to offer that. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my The Love Coach Facebook site. So let's go to Facebook and type in The Love Coach, and you will learn all you need to learn about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and it's a great way for us to stay in touch.
Yeah, and Bruce and I are in discussion mode, so we'll keep you posted on that. We're going to have him back on the radio to talk some more, but we are in discussion mode. Bruce, why don't you tell him a little bit about what we've been talking about doing, because I think it's really exciting, and some of the people out there may want to send us information so that we put them on a list to let them know when we get this up and going.
It is, and you can contact me and send that email to me if you want to be put on that mailing list to find out about live events. And even though there used to be a lot more live events years and years and years ago, and there doesn't seem to be that many, I think that's why people are not getting together. And, you know, you said at the break, you said, Bruce, come up with some ways that people can meet each other. The problems, the additional problems that people have is they're going faster and faster. When they get hurt, they get rejected, they go out there and they go right to the next internet agency and the matchmaker, and they go to this site and that site, and they speed up and they start going out on a daily basis. When you do that, when you speed up like that, you are offering so little to the next person that you meet, and by the time you get rejected and they stand you up, you're feeling about 1% positive about relationships.
That's when people contact us, right? Yeah, that's when they contact us. Yeah.
So here's what Lori and I are going to do. I have something called the stuck in the elevator theory, and that means just picture yourself before cell phones. You were stuck in the elevator. You were talking to someone. You were forced to get to know them. You slowed down. There was no place else to go. It's like when you go to a bar or a club, you're in there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. People know you're going to come and go. Lori and I are going to create executive dating weekends where people that work too hard, that work too long hours, they're alone and lonely, and they really want to meet someone. We're going to have you spend 2 or 3 days, complete full days, with us, learning about having healthy relationships and being in a room with other exciting people just like you who also want to have healthy relationships for 2 or 3 full days. No place else to go, no cell phones, no computers, no texting, just us looking at each other, learning from each other, spending quality time with each other, and that's the way to meet someone spectacular.
Yeah, we'll let you check in on your cell phones maybe at your lunch break, or definitely in the evening when you go back to your hotel room, just in case you're thinking that you're panicking, right? Because you're going to have withdrawals. We promise we're going to give you specific periods of time where you can check in. But yes, I think it's a great idea. And, you know, we'd like to take these across the country to the big cities and really get people together. We want to help teach you. We want to give you these templates. We want to help you learn what healthy relationships now in this day and age look like, and just really push that for you as much as we can. It takes courage. We want men to step up to the plate and be men again, right? And we want women to be successful in their careers, but also learn how to come home and be successful in their relationships. And Bruce and I have experienced this enough ourselves. We're not new to any of this, so we've lived it, we've taught it, and we can tell you that it works, and that we have the people that work with us and do this are happy. They're living in happy, successful relationships, and we want to spread that to you, as many people as we can.
They deserve it.
They do deserve it. All right, Bruce, we've got a couple of minutes left, so one quick 1-minute tip. I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, you know what? People need to slow down. I started saying they're speeding up. People need to slow down. They need to regrow the pie that they're offering. I have a pie theory. When you were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, you fell in love, you gave the pie to that person. And if your heart was broken, the next guy only got a half a pie, and if something else happened after that, a quarter or an eighth of a pie. If you want to meet the right guy, you have to raise your vibration to where that positive person is. The way to do that is to regrow slow down, go and hug trees, go to your spiritual centers, go to yoga classes, meditate. These are all the things that feed your soul. These are all the things that gives you back your self-confidence. And when you have self-confidence, your vibration rises, and then you will find other people with those higher vibrations. Because right now, too many people are running on low-octane, low vibrations, attracting low-energy people. We have to rise above that, and how do we do that? Personal growth. Get back into who we really are. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to go someplace else. Just allow your energies to heal and rise up again.
Great information. Thank you so much for being with us, Bruce. And I hope everyone has enjoyed today's show. I hope the information was a blessing to you. Take an idea or two that you've heard today. Give it some thought. Apply it. See what happens. We want this show to be for you. We want to help you to create happier, healthier relationships. thank you so much for thank you so much for being part of Real Talk on iVibe Radio. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. when we will continue our discussions on all kinds of relationship issues. This is Lori Davis, and you're listening to Real Talk on iVibe Radio.
The views expressed on Real Talk aren't the views of iVibe Radio or any of its advertisers.